Hi, and thanks for joining. Today I'm going to be going over the new Teams meeting experience. And at this point, I believe most Windows users should be at 100% opt-in. But if you are not, if you are a Mac user, if you're seeing the old meeting experience, or if you're a Mac user, at the top right-hand corner of your Teams client, you'll see your profile picture here where you see my mouse. When I click on that, if you will click on that and go to Settings, and then here, there is a checkbox. It says Turn on New Meeting Experience. And if you check that box, then of course, close your settings. Down here, right-click on your Teams app icon on your desktop, hit quit, and then reopen it. That will then open up and launch the new meeting experience for you. You do have to have the desktop application. So if you're wondering the difference, think of your phone. If you have a smartphone, you can go to a web browser and search the internet or say log on to a social media website, or you can download the app from either Google Play or the iTunes Store. Same thing with Microsoft Teams on the desktop. If you're wondering if you have the desktop client, you can search down in your search bar here like I am. And if you type in Microsoft Teams, if you have it on your desktop, it'll launch here. So that's just a real quick to make sure you're in the desktop client, because that's where you get the new meeting experience, like you see here for me. So one thing I want to call out is the new meeting experience gives you a pop-out window, such as you see here. And what I mean by that is if I click here, this is my Teams client, and this is my calendar. And when I open or launch a meeting, I can put that on a separate window, or I can minimize it, and then I can show the new meeting experience, which is the pop out here. Now, one of the first key things to notice is your navigation rail moves from down here at the bottom to permanently pinned at the top right-hand corner. And that's really nice because used to the navigation rail had to be activated by your mouse, meaning you had to move your mouse like I'm doing in order for it to show up down here. And now with it permanently being pinned, all of your items are here. So let's just talk through all of these, if you will. So if I wanted to share my video, I could turn on my video here, and you can see that it defaults to just an open background to show you what my true traditional background looks like. If I wanted to change that, or if you're working from home and maybe you're sharing a space with someone else that's also remote learning or working from home, you can do that as well with the new background or the new meeting experience. So in the three dots here, which we call the ellipses, you click that and you can choose Apply Background Effects. And when you click on Apply Background Effects, you have the option to either add a new background. So what that means is I could upload a picture here. So if I click this, I could search from pictures that I wanted to upload. I don't know that I have any really closely here. But again, you get the idea. I could upload a picture, maybe it's your favorite vacation, or you could upload your agency or state seal or your agency logo, anything you choose. You could blur your background. So when you click blur, you can preview what it's going to look like, and it would preview here. It would stop sharing the camera, but it would preview over here and where I'm circling. And if I apply that, that will then apply the blurred black background and turn it on for me. We also have uploaded some canned pictures, if you will, of backgrounds. So some people like to appear that they're working in a new modern office building. So if I click that and hit apply, it will switch to make it look like I'm at work. I have uploaded a few custom background images. So let's see. I could make this one. So all I did again was click the add new button, but that's what you do. You just pick the ones you want, and you either have the option to preview them before you change your background or apply them. And if you apply a specific background, then what you can do every time you launch from the Teams desktop client, it will show that specific background. And this, I would like to add, is only a feature available in the Teams desktop client. So if you are joining from a web browser, and which you can absolutely do, you just will not have the background effects. It will only show your true background like you see in mine. So I'm going to close this out. Again, that is where I turn my camera on and off. So that's off, that's on. This is where I can mute and unmute my microphone. This is where I can stop sharing. So currently I'm sharing my desktop, but this is the share tray where you can choose to share a desktop, share a specific application. So say a PowerPoint that you have open or a tab. Another thing I would like to mention is when you click share from the desktop client, there will be a button that says include system audio. You will want to check that box before you click share if you have a video that you want to play sound out of when you're presenting whatever it is you're presenting in your meeting. This is the participant list. So if you are the meeting organizer, or if you are a presenter in a meeting, for example, this will show everyone that's a presenter, everyone that is an attendee, and who the organizer is. And when you hover over a specific user, you'll have the three. So what this spotlight means is if you had 200 or 300 people, which 300 is the current limit of participants that you can have in an interactive Teams meeting, which is the one that we're going through now. But if you wanted to spotlight me, for example, the meeting organizer can click on the three dots and spotlight a specific person for everyone in the meeting. And so if I was presenting and 50 people had their video on, then the organizer could spotlight me to showcase me to everyone else. What you'll also see here is the organizer, when you have many other people in this meeting, when you click the three dots, you'll have remove participant. So if you need to remove someone from the meeting, you can as a presenter or the organizer. You can also mute that person. We now have the functionality where you can not permit people to unmute unless you so choose. You can also upgrade and downgrade people on the fly. So if you have an attendee in a meeting and they actually need to share their screen or they want to come off of mute, this is where you do that. So you click on the participant, you hover over the appropriate person, and you click the ellipses here, which is the three dots, to change the settings if you need to during your meeting. If you had multiple people, more than just one person, you'll have a mute all button here if you are the presenter as well. And then if you are the meeting organizer, this three dots here, you'll see to the right of participants. You'll see three things here if you are the meeting organizer. You will see don't allow attendees to unmute. If you turn this on, what happens is anyone that is in the meeting as an attendee will not be able to come off of mute unless they raise their hand. Then when they raise their hand and you come into the participant panel, which we are in right now, and you click the three dots that says allow to unmute, when you click that, then you can allow them to unmute. And then, of course, you can always change it back if you need to. You can manage permissions. So if you forgot to set some permissions, you could change these here. And then there also be, if you have more than one person in a meeting, you will have an attendee report. So you can download an attendee list or participant list. So those are the three things you will have here if you are the meeting organizer. One thing to keep in mind with the participant list is you have to download that right now prior to the meeting ending or before you leave. If you do not, it's gone and you can't go back in and get it. We are going to release a V2 of this that will allow you to download after the meeting is ended, but it's not here yet. So this is your participant list. Again, that is the two little people icon here. This is your chat. So if you are interacting with people, and again, this is an interactive Teams meeting, you can send chats and everyone that is in this meeting will be able to chat. They'll be able to see it. You can attach a file as long as you have OneDrive. You can format your message. You can mark it as important. You can send GIFs if you need to. And then if you have certain applications, third-party applications or Microsoft applications, some depending on what your organization has permitted. And then some you're going to see here because this is my Microsoft account, you do not have in the government cloud. I'm going to close this. This is the raise hand, so that's very, very simple. If you have a question during a meeting and you want to raise your hand and you don't want to interrupt, then you just raise your hand here. You can lower your own hand after you've been called on, or the organizer or meeting participant or presenter can click here on the participant panel and lower the person's hand if they need to. Now, this is breakout rooms. Breakout rooms is currently rolling out in the commercial cloud, and then it will be followed to the government cloud. I'm believing mid-December, early December, somewhere, everyone should have it. And when you're in a meeting, when you click in breakout rooms, you can choose how many meetings that you want to add or how many meeting rooms you want to add. You can automatically assign people or manually assign people. And then when you start to create your rooms and you click that, then you can assign participants here. You can add additional rooms here if you need to. So then that way you can have, if you have a large scale training, or maybe you have a new hire orientation that you're going to be conducting virtually, and you want to add certain people manually into each room, then you can just click here and this will open up the participant list. And of course, there's nobody in this, so I can't show you, but when you expand this, you can click on the individual people and assign them to a room. And then of course, you can rename your rooms, you can delete your rooms, and when you have people added to your rooms, you can open them. And what happens when you open them is people automatically are transitioned into that breakout room. And then when you close the room, they are automatically put back into your main meeting. So that's just a high level on breakout rooms. I will be doing a session solely on breakout rooms when they do land fully. So you can look back here on this channel when we get there. And the three dots, so here is where you will see several other options that you have in this new meeting experience. So if you want to check your device settings, this is where you can ensure that you are either using your PC speakers or microphone, or if you have a headset to use and you want to switch, maybe your headset was charging during the meeting and it finished and you want to switch to your headset. This is where you would click on the three dots, go to device settings, and adjust your PC speakers and microphone, as well as your camera if you need to. Meeting options directly inside of a meeting is new, and we're very excited about that. If you're the meeting organizer and you're using the Teams desktop client, you can click on the meeting options from the ellipses here, and you can adjust this on the fly, and it will work for all up to 300 people that you have in the meeting. So if you want to change the lobby settings because maybe you forgot, you can do that here. And let's just quickly talk about what this is. So who can bypass the lobby? When it says everyone, that means anyone that gets the link to your interactive Teams meeting can bypass the lobby. So that means they'll click on the link and can get right into your meeting. So if you do people in my organization and trusted organization, or people in my organization, that essentially means anybody in your tenant or anybody in your, if you're a central tenant, that's anyone within the state. If you're in your own private tenant, that would be anyone in your agency could bypass the lobby. If you wanted to make it so only you could bypass the lobby for that meeting, then you can absolutely do that. And then anyone that clicks on the link, you will have to admit them as the meeting organizer. A presenter can also admit people into the lobby. Always let callers bypass the lobby. What callers is a dial-in user. So depending on the licensing structure that you have, you may have a dial-in number associated with your Teams meeting. If you do, and you toggle this on, that means anyone that dials in from a phone number can automatically get into your meeting. So by default, that's turned off, but you can change it if you need to. Announce when callers join or leave. That's just a note, essentially a ding that's going to let you know people are joining and people are leaving your meeting. Who can present? This is important. By default, everyone is a presenter in an interactive Teams meeting, but you can absolutely change this. So if you don't want, maybe you only want people in your organization to be a presenter, and that would mean anyone in your tenant could be a presenter. So what can a presenter do? A presenter can mute everyone. A presenter can admit people from the lobby. A presenter can remove people from a meeting or ask people to join a meeting. A presenter can upgrade or downgrade people and their permissions during a meeting. A presenter can start and stop the recording. And a presenter can share the screen and take over screen share. So if you want to allow everyone in your organization to be a presenter, by all means, go ahead. We don't know what's right for your meetings, so we look to you to make sure that you create the settings that you need for your meetings. If you wanted to do specific people, this is specific people to your organization. So if you have internal and external people joining your meeting, this specific people you can only choose from people internally. So maybe you and 3 other people are the presenters, and you're the ones going through the content and the presentations. Then you can allow you and those 2 or 3 or however many other people you need to give that permission to. And then if you choose only me, that means truly only you are the presenter and the organizer of the meeting. And so you have full control of everything. But again, if you change that and choose only me, you can upgrade people on the fly, like I showed you earlier in the participants list, if you need to. So if you forget that somebody needed to share their screen, you can always upgrade them during the meeting with no problem. And then here's where you can force essentially hard mute attendees. So one use is they have to be an attendee for you to be able to not allow them to unmute. And if you turn this on, and that's on that's toggled on when it's purple here. If you turn that on, again, the attendees have to raise their hand right up here, and then you have to go into the participant list and unmute and allow them to unmute themselves. But then they still have to click here to unmute once you've lit that up for them, essentially. So once you get your meeting options the way you need to have them, you just hit save and they're saved. The meeting notes, pretty straightforward. Meeting notes are very interactive, so anyone that is in the meeting can go in and make notes, but essentially it's just a wiki. But you can come in and take notes and it will save in your meeting chat for you. If you're an administrator and you're in charge of taking meeting minutes, this is going to be great for you to just easily take the notes and keep it consolidated in this meeting chat. Meeting details. This is just going to show the meeting details. So if somebody tells you, I can't find the calendar invite, I don't know what the Teams meeting link is, can you send it to me? You could copy this and send it, or you could click copy join info here, and it would copy it to a clipboard, and you can essentially email it to them, send it to them in a chat. However, you need to socialize that to them. So we are currently in the gallery view here. So I'm the only person in the meeting, but gallery view means the 3x3. So up to 9 people can show in the view at one time. And after 9 people, then everybody else down at the bottom just shows a little circle with their name. If you have 10 or more people in your meeting, and they are sharing their video. So that's a key thing I want to call out. They have to be sharing their video, or this large gallery preview will not light up. So if you need to show more than 9 people at a time, maybe you're a teacher and you want to see your entire class, or maybe you're a manager and you want to see your entire team, and you can, as long as you tell them to turn on their video and they've got it actually activated, you can choose large gallery preview, and that will give you a view of up to 49 people at one time in the squares. So I call them like the Hollywood squares. If you would like a more together view or a more inclusive view where you feel like you're actually in an auditorium rather than in the 4 separate squares, you could turn on together mode. And that will essentially take the grids out, and it will put everybody where we look like we're sitting side by side. So it's just a more inclusive, fun way to just feel like you're together and not actually at home working. So full screen, you can turn on full screen if you need to. We talked through the apply background effects. If I wanted to turn on live captions, this is also a feature of the desktop client. So you have to be using the Teams desktop client if you want to turn on closed caption. But this is a more inclusive feature for your users that may be hard of hearing and they need to be able to read the closed caption. This is a user setting. So they would need to click on the 3 dots and turn on closed caption like I did here. And then of course I can stop the recording, which I will do when I'm finished with this session, and turn off incoming video. I do want to just spend a minute with this because we're all working from home. We're all having stressed bandwidth from time to time with our home networks. And sometimes we may be in a large meeting and everybody's trying to share their video, but you personally are getting a choppy feedback. You know, you can't really hear what the presenters saying because 50 people are sharing their video and content's being shared. So if you do the turn off incoming video, it turns it off for you. It doesn't turn it off for everybody else in the meeting. But what happens is when it turns it off for you, it frees up your bandwidth, which gives you a clearer where you're able to hear the presenter, and at least you can hear the content and see the content which being shared, and you just won't see the other people's videos. But again, it only turns it off for you. It doesn't turn it off for everybody else, but this is a really nice feature. So if you're getting some choppy audio, just remember to go to the three dots and choose turn off incoming video, and that should free up your bandwidth. The last thing I want to talk about is leave versus end a meeting. So if you are the organizer, you have the ability to end the meeting. And what that means is if you just choose leave, you're just leaving the meeting. So essentially, if you were on a three-way call, you're just hanging up, but the other people can continue to talk. Well, that's the same thing with leave. If you just leave, you're just leaving the meeting, but everybody else can continue on. If you need to end the meeting after it's over and you don't want people to hang out after you're finished, if you are the meeting organizer, you'll have the ability to end the meeting. And from there, you can absolutely end it for everyone. And if you have lobby settings turned on, if to rejoin, they can't rejoin. That does conclude the new meeting experience. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and I'm going to end this meeting. But I thank you very much, and I hope you have